Hello everyone, welcome to today's news chatter. Let's begin with the prelims practice question of the day. Take a look at this question. It actually looks like a very factual question. It is, of course, a factual question, but even then, it is very important for your examination. The reason is, in the recent times, if you are a person who have been observing the newspaper properly, you will understand that most of the developed nations, such as USA or the European Union, or even let's say China, India, etc., we have been talking about placing a telescope in the space or placing a telescope on the surface of the moon. In such cases, we need to know about the basics of orbital telescopes. Which among the below is not a telescope placed in an orbit which revolves around Earth? Telescopes are used from the surface of the Earth. Sometimes they are placed on the orbits around the Earth. Sometimes they are placed on an orbit around the sun or around the moon or around any planetary body. So we need to know the difference. Here, four options are provided. James Webb Space Telescope. It is not a telescope which is placed around an Earth's orbit. It is placed around an orbit around the sun. So it revolves around the sun. It doesn't revolve around Earth. So this particular point should be known. All the other telescopes, Hubble Space, Spitzer, and High Energy Astronomy Observatory, all these telescopes revolve around the Earth. So try to remember this point very well. Registration of Births and Deaths Amendment Act 2023. For registration of birth and death, now the government has brought a proper systematic network and a solution for it. So we need to know the basics. Registration of birth and death is a subject that comes under the concurrent list. It does not come under the union list. It comes under the concurrent list. Because it comes under the concurrent list, the union government can place an act or a legislation which should be followed by the state also. So that's what the government has done. This act introduces, what does it introduce? It introduces digital birth certificates. Now every person has an Aadhaar card. So whenever a son or a daughter is born, or if someone dies, then immediately a digital certificate will be provided and the Aadhaar number of either the parents or the person who died, that will be mentioned there. So that a proper record will be there for everything, and this will help in proper distribution of voters list, proper survey, etc. So here what we are doing is linking Aadhaar details of parents and informants to birth certificate, and if it is a person who has died, linking their Aadhaar number to the death certificate. There will be a proper centralized database which will be established to manage birth and death record. And this will ensure proper service delivery. If a person has died, then earlier it was there, person will die and the family will still use their ration card for a very long time. So, and then they will get the goods. So this cannot happen from now on because automatically the death certificate will be provided. National Population Registry, ration cards, property registration, in all these details, the data will be registered. Noted down important point. It is an obligation of the states. It is a compulsion on the states to register both birth and death on the center's civil registration system portal. There is a portal which is called the civil registration system, in which all the birth and death of the citizen of the country will be mentioned. And it is the duty of the state government, because in all the municipalities and the village panchayats, it comes under the work of the state government. So it is for the state government to input all the details. One very important concern here is when you make it compulsory to get a birth or death certificate. In a case, let's say, for example, if there is a student, if there is a child who do not have a digital birth certificate, and if the child goes to a school to get educated, and if the school asks, where is your digital birth certificate? If the student doesn't have it, what will we do? Will he be denied the right to education, which is again a fundamental right? So this is a question which has to be answered. Obviously, this particular measure cannot be taken away because the birth and death certificate is very important. One thing we can do is, in such cases, the person can be told to be given a immediate birth certificate so that he can be enrolled in the school. However, from UPSC point of view, you need to know about the advantages and disadvantages also. So note this concern down. National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority. So recently there was a news about increase in cost of certain essential drugs. You don't need to know about the name of the drugs and how much increase and everything, but you need to know about National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority, because we just overcame a very big pandemic, and NPPA played a very important and crucial role in such cases. Whenever there is a pandemic or whenever there is a spread of a important, a very big disease, in such cases, NPPA will ensure that the drugs are available at the cheapest cost. So, what exactly this authority is? The essential drugs are maintained under a national list of essential medicine. The government has a particular list which is called as National List of Essential Medicines. So, any disease which most of the people suffer or a huge population of the country is suffering from, for such diseases, what drugs we are providing, that drugs will be maintained under national list of essential medicines. The prices of non-essential drugs are also monitored by the government. It is not that the government is ignoring everything. Because if I'm a pharmaceutical company, if I think that malaria is spreading in the country, I can increase the cost so that my profit will increase. But this is actually wrong, because I cannot make use of the dire situation of the people. So it is for the government to ensure that the drugs are available at a reasonable cost. So the government ensures that none of the drugs goes above 10 percentage of the annual MRP. So it is for the government to monitor and to ensure that the manufacturers of these drugs don't increase MRP by more than 10 percentage any year. Today, if I have a drug which I am selling at 100 rupees, next year I cannot sell it as 120 or 130. Maximum what I can do is I can keep it at 110 rupees. That's it. So NPPA allows for price hikes in, and it should be in line with the WPI index, that is wholesale price index. So this point should be noted down. Cannot be above the inflation. NPPA was set up as an attached office of Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals. So this particular point is extremely important. People usually misunderstand NPPA to be a body under the Ministry of Science. Generally, that's what we think, but it is a department of chemical. It is under the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals. So noted down. The aim of NPPA is to regulate the price of drugs in the country and ensure their availability, accessibility, and affordability. This particular body implements the provisions of Drug Price Control Order. There is a order called Drug Price Control Order 2013, and it is the NPPA which maintains it. And in this Drug Price Control Order, it is mentioned how to control the prices of the drugs. That is also managed here. It monitors availability of drugs, identifies shortages. If there is any shortages, that will also be taken care of. All the legal matters related to drug pricing is taken care by NPPA. It renders advice to the central government regarding the drugs policy also. Read it very well. It is going to be very helpful for prelims as well as mains. Right against self-incrimination, it is a very important right which everyone should be knowing because it comes under the fundamental rights. Article 20 talks about right against incrimination, right against arrest of people in certain cases. So it has a third clause. In this, it is told that no one can be a witness against himself, because there is a high chance that the police or any law enforcement agency can harass the person and make him to be a witness against himself. So that is not allowed under Article 20. So no person can be compelled to provide any information or testify against himself. And there is a very important case which you need to know, Nandini Satpathy versus P.L. Dani, which happened in 1978, Nandini Satpathy case. In this case, it was told that the right against self-incrimination extends both to accused person and witnesses. None of them, whether I'm an accused person or if I'm a witness in a particular case, I cannot be coerced. I cannot be compelled to incriminate against any person. So Article 20 clause 3 and Nandini Satpathy case is important for your mains examination. Note it down, it will be helpful. Why this particular right is important for this exam? Because Section 106, Clause 2 of Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which was passed last year in 2023. In this, it has been mentioned if a person uh, is involved in an accident, if he accidentally he hit someone in a road rage, or if he caused some accident and if he runs away from the place without admitting the other person in hospital or without admitting to the crime, in such cases, the person will be incriminated for 10 years. So he will be accused for the crime and he will be considered as a criminal. Earlier, the term was 5 years. Now it has been increased to 10 years of imprisonment. So the problem here is, if a person tells himself that I have caused this accident, is it under Article 20, Clause 3 of self-incrimination? Because here, this particular act, this particular law is trying to put the onus on the person who caused the crime. So, does it come under the self-incrimination or not is to be assessed. So, there is no answer to it until now, but this confusion is going on. So, you need to know about it. National Institutional Ranking Framework, every year in June, this particular ranking is released by the government. In 2023. The ranking was released and it is a ranking by the Ministry of Education. This is why this particular ranking is very important. It was released by the government so that people will know about the quality of the college education which they are getting. So it is a ranking of higher educational institutions which belong to India, not to other countries. What are the parameters? Four parameters are taken. First one, research. Second one, outcome of graduation, then outreach and inclusivity, and then perception. Research, of course, it is very important. Graduational outcome, how many people are getting graduated, how many of the people are passing the examination, etc. Outreach of the particular institution outside the district or outside the state, etc. And inclusivity, of course, whether they are including a wider range of population, and perception of the people, of the industries, etc., about the particular institution. So they give an overall ranking and they give a sectional ranking also. So overall ranking for the past 5 years, IIT Madras has been declared as the best institution, and the second one is IISc, Indian Institute of Science, which is in Bangalore. Overall ranking, in addition to separate ranking, is also provided, so you can go through it. Separate ranking is provided for research institutes, degree colleges, discipline specific ranks in engineering, management, pharmacy, law, etc., etc. 2023 ranking made two important changes. One is it introduced a new subject, namely agriculture and allied sectors, and expansion of the scope of architecture to architecture and planning, because town planning, urban planning, rural planning, etc. has been given more importance in the recent times. So architecture was there earlier, now it is architecture and planning. Agriculture and allied sector is a new subject. So these things should be noted down. How symbols are provided to the parties in a election. So this is an election year. Anything related to election is important. You also need to remember it. This is a little confusing topic. Even then, try to somehow remember it. In case they ask in prelims, you should be in a position to answer. So what are all the provisions? A party is recognized as a national party or state party under the provision of election symbols order. There is a symbols order which is managed by the Election Commission of India. So we have criteria for national party, we have criteria for state party also. Here, let's see the criteria for recognition of state level parties. Three important criteria are there. It's very factual, very vague, but try to remember it. First thing, the particular party should have won one Lok Sabha seat for every 25 seats. One Lok Sabha seats at least for every 25 seat, or 3% of legislative assembly seat. Either they should have won one seat at least for every 25 seat of Lok Sabha in that particular state, or 3% of the legislative assembly seats they should have won. This is first criteria. Or let's go to the second criteria. Second one is they should have won at least one Lok Sabha or two assembly seats, along with 6% of the vote poll. 6% of vote. For in the first, it was one seat, one Lok Sabha seat for every 25 seats contested, and or 3% of the legislative assembly seats, total seats. In the second, we are talking about total percentage of votes, 6% of votes polled in total, or one Lok Sabha or two assembly seats. And the third, securing 8% of votes polled in a general election. So if any of the above three get satisfied, it will be considered as a state party. It is very factual, but you need to know about it. For registered but unrecognized parties, one of the free symbol is allotted. So the Election Commission of India always maintains certain symbols. If it is a registered unrecognized party, one symbol is provided by the Election Commission of India. If that party contests in minimum of two Lok Sabha constituencies or 5% of seats to the assembly. There is a rule called Rule 10B, which comes under the elections symbol order. This says that the concession of a common free symbol shall be available to a registered unrecognized party for two general elections. So if I have a registered unrecognized party, I have been given a symbol by the election commission. For the next two elections, I will be having this symbol. After that, I will have to go and register again. So the eligibility of a common symbol is in subsequent election. What is the eligibility? If the party had secured at least 1% of votes. If I'm contesting, if I'm a new party, I will go to the election commission. Election commission will give me a symbol, and I should have won at least 1% of the votes in that particular election. If I have won, then I can go again to the election commission and tell that, see, you have given me a symbol and I have won 1% of the votes. So you can give me the same symbol again. So the election commission will provide me the same symbol. So this is the basic idea. Unrecognized parties should apply for a symbol every time. It can be given, but you have to apply for it. When will you apply? Minimum of 6 months before the expiry of Lok Sabha or state assemblies, I have to go and apply. And it will be provided based on first come, first served basis. If I have been given a symbol and I did not go to apply for that symbol and someone else has come and started applying for the symbol, the election commission have all the right to give that symbol to someone else. So this is the basics about symbols order of the election commission. From prelims point of view, one particular fact which you can remember, because these days this kind of questions are being asked. When lagoon. When lagoon is a lagoon which is in Albania. Where is Albania located? Albania is a European country. It is located to the north of Greece, and it is a country which is located along the Adriatic Sea. So this is Greece, and here you have your Albania. Albania is located to the north of Greece, and it is located close to Adriatic Sea. So there is a lagoon called as Vane Lagoon in Albania, and this lagoon is very well known for migratory birds. But in the recent times, the number of migratory birds that come to Vane Lagoon has decreased because of climate change. So recently they are asking questions about lakes, mountains, etc. in different countries. So you need to know about it also. That will be all for today. All the best. Let's meet tomorrow.